Radio Grand Lac, à Aix-les-Bains et autour du lac du Bourget, votre radio.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Oh, hello everyone, and welcome back to Your English Weekly on Radio Grand Lac 92.1. As you all know, you can tune in every Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:15. And don't forget, Your English Workshop sponsors Your English Weekly. And as you may not know, Your English Workshop is a training centre for English lessons for adults and children in Aix-les-Bains and the Ravois. Visit their website for more information and on our new programs for September 2022. So hello everyone and welcome to Your English Weekly. I'm your host Sinead, and Your English Weekly stimulates English speaking with an expression of the week in Aix-les-Bains and in France. So stay tuned because we are going to speak today with Ross Webb. And hello Ross, how are you today?
Good afternoon. Hello, very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming, especially. And so, Rob, tell us, we're going to look at the first expression. And then we're going to talk about the finance and Brexit. So let's have a look. So, Ross, let's see if you can tell our listeners what the rat race is. I'll repeat that again, the rat race.
Yes, that's a term I'm very familiar with. Rat race is a term given to the daily grind of going in with the commuters in the morning to work and in the rush hour again coming home at the end of the day. And it seems to be a sort of never-ending cycle, a bit like a rat or a mouse on a wheel, just going round and round again.
Well, we'll see if you're right. We'll check that at the end.
Okay.
So, Ross, tell us a few details about yourself. I know you're English, of course, but what else could you say to our listeners today about you?
Well, I moved over here nearly 2 years ago now with my family. We wanted a complete change of life. I've got a couple of very young children. I met my wife, who was born in this area, 12 years ago now. In London, and I've lived and worked for the last 25 years prior to that in London in the financial sector. And as you can imagine, it's a very different contrast to the way of life here in Savoie.
Oh, I'm sure it is. You don't get to go out and visit those mountains or go hiking or walking.
Not at all. And the first time I came over here to meet her family was, 10, 12 years ago. As we went out for a drive and saw the views in the mountains, I was like, oh my goodness, this is spectacular.
This is the place I want to live.
And I could see myself being here straight away. And having got to know the area a little bit, Chambray and the likes, I sort of thought, no, this just feels like home. I'm certain we'll be here at some point.
Yeah.
And then the moment came when, my eldest child is at that point when she's getting ready to go to school. So the decision is then forced upon you because you don't really want to be changing once they've been going to school for a couple of years if you can help it.
It's true.
So that was the reason for moving.
So that was the reason to moving here.
Yeah.
So Ross, I know you're in the sector of finance. Mm-hmm. Now, what part of the sector of finance are you actually from?
Well, I spent 25 years working and living in London in the city of finance, and that's a very wide sector. There are a lot of different professions that occupy within the finance world.
Okay, what types of
So
professions?
you'll have the actual bankers, you'll have traders, brokers, accountants, lawyers. The list almost goes on and on. It's almost like a microeconomic package, all of its own kind of like right. And then you'll get all the sort of support staff as well that work there. It's a very large employer with, and as a result, a lot of different types of people can work in there and have a very diverse and rewarding career. Okay.
Good. Sounds interesting. So what if somebody wants to go into the finance sector? Is English compulsory?
It's not compulsory, but it would probably limit your chances. I mean, if you are French and you speak French, you can go and work, in Rediffusion or the likes of such. But if you want to go and work in England, you're going to need English.
Of course. And what are other skills that they would need as well?
Well, I think you have to be motivated and a bit of a self-motivated because you're going to have to put in a bit of work. The qualification is going to be extremely useful and necessary depending on what part of the finance world you want to work in. So lawyers and accountants and the likes, you're not going to be able to work in there if you're unqualified. They'll support you and sponsor you to get qualified, but you won't really be able to continue if you aren't. But then there are a lot of managerial type roles when you don't have to have formal qualifications. But then you get into, well, what type of skills that you need? I think probably to be organised and to be disciplined and, as I say, motivated are kind of key things. Because it's very competitive. Yeah. A lot of people will want to work there. It can be a very financially rewarding career. So there are a lot of people that will want to work in that sector.
And if somebody wanted to know more about this sector, where could they find out information for this? I'm thinking of those young people coming from business schools and things like that.
I mean, if they're looking for a job or something like that, then there's various websites online. If they're more interested in a general overview type chat, then there probably are forums, but they could get in touch via yourself, and I'm happy to answer questions if people want, kind of thing. People have done it for me in the past, and it's always nice to be able
that would be nice. You could be a little mentor. That's fantastic. Okay, so if you are interested, don't hesitate to send us a message. So now let's go on to talk about Brexit. That is a very big subject, isn't it?
Indeed, yes. That was a big impactor for the city. The vote now, I think, was 2016. It was the year that my daughter was born. I personally thought, will remain.
This will never happen.
But no, it didn't. I mean, the city and certainly London was very much pro-remaining and staying within the EU.
Yeah, pro-EU.
Because it's the sort of central kind of core of the single market of the EU is like a big club. And it removes boundaries and borders. So a good way to think of it really is to sort of think, okay, so we're sat at the moment in aix-les-bains. And let's say we set up a business and we sell things. And that does well. People like those. We think, let's open another office near Paris and maybe one in Bordeaux. Now, that wouldn't be a problem. We're just driving down the road and bring some people and nice and easy. Well, that's because we're within France. Now,
and that's the single market, isn't it?
It is. So if we expanded that and say, well, rather than saying France, we'll say within the EU, then we could go and do that in Spain or
Italy,
Austria and the likes. Exactly.
Or Ireland.
Ireland, indeed. And it just makes it easier from a business point of view. People can move freely, money can move freely, services, goods, etc. And as a trading framework, it's exceptional, I think. It's an excellent way to do. But then, politics comes in and people's views and
then Brexit came in. And what happened during this time of Brexit? I'm really curious about this because
I think there was an initial shock.
But was it really affected? Did companies really get up and leave?
Well, the city has always been very good at adapting. So whatever challenges are thrown to it in terms of regulatory framework and changes to environments, it will change. It's as simple as that. But there was an initial period of shock. People thought, oh my goodness. And then there was that, okay, we've got to just get used to the fact that this is going to be the way it is. So if we want to carry on trading within finance and clearing and the likes, then we'll need to set up banks within the remaining EU countries. So a lot of banks used Ireland, Dublin. A lot of them went, Paris and Amsterdam and Luxembourg. And then they had to apply for, full banking licenses rather than just being a branch. And then a lot of roles did have to transfer outside of the city into one of the remaining member states of the EU in order for then that to work. So there were a lot of jobs that moved. But as I say, the city's always good at adapting and changing.
And they are resilient, the British.
Indeed. Yes.
They're very, very resilient.
Yep.
And I think the Queen is celebrating her Jubilee this week. Is that right?
She is, yes. It's the diamond one, 70 years.
70 years. No, that is amazing, isn't it?
It's a long time. I don't think any other monarch has done that, not just in British history, I don't think.
Yeah, no. I think she's the oldest monarch that exists today, yeah. So fantastic. So now, I'm going back to our Brexit. Sorry about that. So give us a little idea. What was the reaction of these people? So, okay, they did adapt. We know that they are fantastic at that. But were they angry within the situation at the moment? And even today, is it okay now today to find solutions within the finance sector, or is it still a little bit complicated?
Well, there's a word we like, complicated.
Oh, yeah, but that's the French, isn't it?
Well, lots of things are complicated. I mean, normally the city deals with things in a way that there is that initial, okay, that's a bit of a shock, and then emotion comes with that. A lot of people were, why, and then there's that sort of emotion that you have to deal with, but then they just get on with it. It's business. So you have to find the solution. Finding the solution can take a little bit of time, and I was actually involved in a Brexit project, one of my last roles that I did, to ensure that systems worked and clients could then deal with, they wanting to place trades and the likes of such there. It has to work, and it has to go down new pipes in order to go through the new business arrangement. So there was a lot of cost involved to doing that as well. It took a little while for that to get off the ground. Some firms that were a little bit more foresight thought, right, okay, we've got to do this quickly because we are going to run out of time. And so it was
challenging.
Without a doubt, and cost a lot of money, which ideally would have not liked to have spent, but that's
nobody
the way things work.
Yeah, nobody wants to spend that type of money in the thing. So in a nutshell, can you just, I know we talked earlier about the single market and what have you, but what about the financial service industry? Were they badly affected? Because it's not just trading within Europe, or has it made the whole system much easier because they can now trade with Canada the same way they can trade with Europe?
Well, yes, there are almost restrictions that have been lifted that the London can now say, right, okay, so we can form our own trading relationships and we don't have that kind of like barrier, if you like. So that's another side of the sort of city. It's the resilience is that they will find opportunity. Now, whenever there is an issue or a problem, there is always an opportunity, and you need be the sort of person to look for that opportunity or to try to create that opportunity.
That's very positive thinking.
And they will do that because it's, the city is about making money. It's as simple as that. It's business, and business is about making. You've got a set of rules that you've got to follow, and a set of principles and morals, if you like. But you're there to make money, so you can't sit there crying in the corner and moaning because nobody's going to take any notice of you. You've just got to get on with it. So there have been opportunities, and will continue to do so. I think the full effects we probably won't know for another 5 or 10 years.
5 or 10 years. And do you think that England might become like Switzerland, where people will be able to sort of hide money? Can we say something like that? No, I'm only joking.
I think the regulatory framework now is such that it would be very difficult to do that in terms of physical cash.
Yes.
There's a lot of communication that goes on between most developed countries now. And I mean, my situation where I am at the moment, I do a UK tax return and a French tax return, and we also have to provide one because my wife works in Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
And we have to provide bank account details, all the accounts we've got to all the countries. So that never used to be the case if you went back 10 years, but every year money laundering regulations, etc. get tighter and tighter.
And they're right.
Indeed,
I think that, things have to be fair for everyone. So thanks so much for all of this. I mean, Ross, we'll have to do a part 2 because we could go into so many details, but we'll do that.
Welcome.
Yeah, so we'll do that then in the near future. So let's go back to my expression before finishing, the rat race. You are right, Ross, of course. A rat race is an endless, self-defeating or, I won't say pointless, but a pursuit continually running through that cage, as you said earlier, on that wheel, and continuing without stop. But you attempt to get a reward, such as cheese for the rat in the cage, And in the financial sector, this is what people are looking for, rewards, usually with money.
Yeah.
So there we are. Well, to all my listeners, that's all from us today. If you wish to listen to this podcast again, don't hesitate to find us on YouTube, Your English Weekly. Also, you will see my Facebook page with the expression of the week. And I wish you all a wonderful week. And I'll be back with another guest next week. So bye to you all from us at You. And we'll talk to you next week. But before I leave, don't forget Astrid at 2:15. C'est toute beauté. I don't know if we say it like that, with all beauty. And at 5 o'clock, 1 hour, one district, une commune, c'est ça, une commune. Thank you. And today it's about Saint-Ours. So have a lovely week, everyone, and talk to you next week. Thanks, Ross, for coming.
You're very welcome.
Bye. Bye for now.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
24h/24, 7 jours sur 7. Radio Grand Lac, à Aix-les-Bains et autour du lac du Bourget, votre radio.